Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to another Sims 4 speedrunning video, or welcome to the channel if you are new here. So in today's video I'm going to be building in the world of Oasis Springs, which is one of the base game worlds, and I'm going to be building using the new kit which came out earlier this week, the Sims 4 Desert Luxe kit. I'm going to be building a modern desert home. So first things first, and I want to put it at the very front of this video just to remind you, use me as your personal reminder system. Currently, this kit that you're seeing me build with is free. So if you own the Sims 4, whether it be on console or PC, if you've got the Sims 4 base game, you can go ahead to your Origin library and you can download this kit for free. I wanted to pinpoint that right at the start of this video because the Sims are basically doing this current offer on this new kit for, I think it's a limited amount of time. I think the offer, or the sale, ends October 17th, and so I just thought I would remind you, just in case you didn't even know, because you might not be on Twitter, you might not be aware, maybe you sometimes play The Sims but you're not an every single day player, you haven't loaded into your game, and you haven't seen the, I think it's like a little banner on the home screen, like when you go into it and you've got like resume game and whatnot. I'm pretty sure there is a notification that tells you it's free, but yes, please use me as a reminder. Currently, the kit that you're seeing me build with is free, so if you own the Sims 4 base game, you can go and redeem this kit for absolutely no cost whatsoever. And yeah, anyway, now on to the video. Sorry, just wanted to be your reminder system. This week, we got a new kit, like I just mentioned, and of course, I wanted to sit down and build something with it. I wanted to originally build like a cliff house. Didn't really end up being that. I can't class this as a cliff. It's pretty much a big pebble that I'm building on, but I wanted to build something inspired by the kit, and I'm so happy with the way it turned out, so I hope you guys like it as well. Now, when I say I think this kit might be my new favourite or tied new favourite, I'm not joking. The new kit that came out, you can see that I've already placed down some items. Normally, right, I will come in and I'll build the structure and then I'll go in and I'll do like the exterior furnishings and whatnot. I was so excited, I just wanted to get in and start using it. So you can see that I've already used some sun lounges, some little side tables, the sofa, the new sofa that we got in this kit, chef's kiss, I know. I'm going to be using this in so many builds, even just so many like standard family homes, because it offers one of the things that we don't really have much with sofas in The Sims 4, and it's a plain sofa with neutral colours, and the neutral colours are like black, cream, grey, different shades of like brown and beige, and it is just, I'm so happy with it. Like, I can't actually, this probably is on the same like level to me as favoritism as the Industrial Loft kit, because that is currently my favourite kit, I think, just because the Industrial Loft kit windows are just absolutely some of my favourite windows to use. But this new kit is so good, and do you know what's so amazing about it? They actually collaborated with another simmer to create this kit, which is JessicapieYT. Wait, no, not Evelyn. Do you know what it is? It's because I watch her videos so much, and I'm pretty sure her gallery ID is JessicapieYT, and I think the only time that I ever really hear, it's like me, I never really say, you're right, it's Jessicapie. I always say at the end, it's JessicapieYT. So anyway, Evelyn, who is an amazing Sims 4 builder, actually helped make this kit, and do you know what? They need to get her on the team, because the execution of just the items, and just, you can tell that a builder has had a say in this kit just because of the use of all the different items and the amount that you can use them in so many different builds. And one of my favourite things is we've got like this new curtain pole thing, or like curtain shelf, which I'll point out when I actually place it down into the build. But basically, you know, sometimes when you want to place some curtains over a window and you want to have, maybe there's like a bit of a gap, and you put two curtains and then it looks a bit off, because normally in real life there'd be like a rod connecting the two curtains. This kit, it offers like a little rod shelf kind of thing. You can just tell that that a builder had a say in this, because it is just, I'm just so happy with it. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm so happy with the whole entire kit and just everything that comes in it. And I tried to use, and I'm pretty sure I did, every single item that we've got within this kit, within this build somewhere. I'm not sure on the amount of items that we actually got, but we've got like 2 new windows, which you can already see me use. You see the ones at the front that kind of have that, it's like a paneling. Do you know what? I wouldn't place these down in like Willow Creek or Newcrest or somewhere where it's going to snow, because the windows, I'm pretty sure, actually are just gaps and there's no glass there. So if you're living somewhere where there's like thunderstorms or heavy rain, or just not very practical, but they're beautiful in Oasis Springs. But we've got some new windows, and in this build I decided to kind of like layer them and like stack them upon one another to make it look like a bigger window. We also got another window, which you can see just underneath the sofa, which is kind of, it like kind of comes out at an angle. Really interesting, and so I wanted to try and utilise the item as much as possible and trying to make it fit into the build, because I feel like if I was just to put that on like a plain wall, it would be a bit weird. And so you can see the way that I've done the roofing, I've kind of put a platform and then I pull the platform over by one tile, and then that way it's kind of like a little roof for the window, if you get what I mean. I think it made sense in my head, and it also just made sense in the build. And so they're the new windows. We also got a new door. Well, I mean, I say that it's not actually a door. It's meant to be an archway, but I decided to use it as a door. Originally, it was going to be the front door to this house, but then when I actually came in and I started doing a little bit more interior wallpapering and flooring, and I also was doing like the interior archways and doorways, I was looking at it and I was thinking, it's a bit strange to have a literal archway as your front door. So I decided to change it, but you'll see that later in the video. But we got a new door, bifolding doors, and they come, tell you what, the new windows come in so many nice swatches. I'm also talking about the one that kind of like angles out, and then the bifolding doors as well. They come in so many. I was honestly so surprised the amount of different swatch options there is. Can't tell you off the top of my head, but I just know that there was a lot. We also got a new wallpaper and also a new flooring within this pack. And then I think in terms of like build stuff, you know, like the core things for like structure, so like walls, wallpapering, flooring, I think that is pretty much it for the kit. We also got like a new spandrel, which you can see that I've used just at the front of the build on kind of like the right hand side. You see where the sun lounges are? That is the new spandrel. I also tried to create like a spandrel looking thing. You can see on the left hand side now over here where the fireplace is, I basically got like a plank of wood, which is a debug menu item, like base game object, and I basically used the tool mod, scaled it up, and then rotated it to make it look like beams, or like kind of like a spandrel, but also kind of make it look like a structure support system thing. I really wanted the outside of this house to be very deserty, obviously, because, you know, Desert Luxe kit, but I wanted it to feel like you're actually in the desert. You're like in this house surrounded by a giant pebble, because it's not really a cliff, even though that was my intention. But I'm just so happy with the whole execution of this whole entire house, and I'm really excited about it. But you can see that I've now moved to kind of like the back area of the build, and I'm just focusing on this little like patio area. The way this came together, I'm actually obsessed with it. The way that the fireplace, I was able to like merge it into the rocks, and just the new fireplace itself, again, comes in so many nice swatches. And all the swatches that we got in this kit, you know, like how sometimes we'll get like a stuff pack or an expansion pack or whatever it might be, and they have all these beautiful sofas, and they'll be like pink and green and bright orange and all these like crazy funky kind of swatches. There's none of that. It's very neutral. It's just my cup of tea. And to be honest, I feel like it is very Evelyn, because I've been watching her videos for literally years at this point, and she's very much like a neutral person in terms of build and buy stuff. From what I've seen from her videos anyway, she loves the kind of like Scandinavian kind of design. She is from Denmark, so it probably explains it. But I'm just so happy with the kit, and so happy with this back garden as well. You can see that there's also like a little patio area where your Sims can like use a barbecue, which is a new item. There is also a little seating area as well as some sun lounges. And then over here, I decided that I wanted some like water to come out of the rocks. So you can see that I'm placing down these kind of like little fountain objects. The annoying thing is, at one point, there was actually like water coming out of these in build and buy mode, which was so much easier. And for some reason, at one point, they decided to update them. So when you're actually building, you can't see the water coming out. You would have seen me just like merge them into the rocks, and now it looks like there is nothing there. I promise you that there is. It's just when you go into like live mode or live mode, however you say it, I say both. But when you go into live mode in gameplay, there will be water coming out of the rocks. I don't know why they decided to change that, because it's actually quite annoying when you're trying to build, because you can't see what type of fountain you're using either. Because the thing is that I find with the fountains in The Sims 4, there is so many different options, I couldn't tell you which ones I use. I mean, luckily enough, I did end up using the ones that I intended to use, but I don't know why they changed it. I really wish that there would be an update so we could get the previous version of them fountains back, because when you're trying to build and you don't really know what you're doing, you don't know how the water's going to come out, and it's just a bit confusing. Because there's ones that you kind of like spray water every so often, and there's also ones that are consistent water flows, and it's just, you have to take a chance when you're building, because you can't see. But luckily enough, like I said, I end up using the ones that I intended to use. And in gameplay, when your Sims like swimming in the swimming pool, there is water coming out the rocks. It's very peaceful in the back garden. But the way that I did the swimming pool, actually, I do want to mention, you can see that it comes from the front of the build, and then it kind of goes into a little tunnel underneath the house itself, and then goes to the back of the build. Do you know what? I've never done this. I'm well happy with this, because I've never done this idea. I've seen it a few times in like different houses on like Pinterest and stuff, but I've never been able to do a build where it makes sense, but I feel like for Oasis Springs, for this kind of house, it fits so perfectly. And I also use this like pond or like watercolour that's a little bit darker than the one that I normally use, and it's got all these different leaves in it. Just feels very deserty, very oasis-y, and I'm so in love with it. But you can see that I also did just another like upstairs area. Now my intention to use every single object in this build was basically try and find a place where everything will fit in and everything will make sense. And so you would have seen on the upstairs portion, that kind of where the staircase that goes down to the downstairs, if you're following along with me, I ended up adding in a bar area as well as like a seating area, and then there is also another seating area upstairs with like some sofas and the fireplace, and then there is also another like lounge area at the very front of the build. This build, I tried to make it a little bit like a bachelor's pad, and so it only ends up being 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom. But I just can imagine like a single sim, maybe like a single doctor, or maybe like a single, I don't know, like lawyer or something. Bit of a bachelor, bit of a Don Lafaro kind of sim, if you get what I mean, can live in this house. But moving on from that, as you can see, I've now moved on into the inside of this house, and I started off like always by the front door. Now, like I mentioned about like switching out the front door, originally it was these same bifolding doors that you can see that I've used in like the dining room area. But then when I was thinking about it, I was thinking it looks great and it does fit in, and if you were in a completely secluded area, you were literally in the middle of nowhere, it'd be great. But realistically, you're in Oasis Springs, your neighbours are going to come up to your front door, they're going to knock and realise that it's actually just open. They could come in, like start sitting on your sofa and going in your fridge and stuff. It's just not practical. And so I decided to change it to a front door that we got from the Snowy Escape expansion pack. But then by the front door, you might notice I used the new, I want to say hallway table, but I'm pretty sure in the like build and buy category it's classed as a shelf. But either way, this new unit that we got within the kit, and I just love it so much. It's like this hallway table, it's already got clutter built into it, which I do wish that they separated. But I actually watched Evelyn's like video like explaining about her like collaboration with the kit, and she said that it was something to do like the item limit, because with like all the different DLCs that we get, there's only a certain amount of items, or it was something along the lines of that. But it's got all these like pre-cluttered clutter, if you want to put it that way, within the hallway table, and then the sides of it kind of go down into like an arch. It's so beautiful, and again, it comes in so many different swatches. But now you can see that I've moved on into the dining room. Now, I was really stuck on this room because I was really stuck on what dining table and chairs to use, and then I ended up just going for the same ones that I use on the exterior. The table itself is from the Get Famous expansion pack, and then it matches quite nicely with these base game chairs, which I feel like look quite similar to the new armchair that we got within the kit. And so I just felt like, you know, it doesn't matter too much that if it's the same table on the inside as the outside, because it was the one that I felt like fitted the build the best. But now, as you can see, I've now moved on into kind of like the kitchen area, also a bit of a lounge room area. The actual house itself is not huge, like you can already see, like it's not massive, but I feel like for gameplay, if you've got a single sim, I feel like this is perfect size. If you wanted to, you could probably pop a little laptop onto either the dining room table or maybe like these kitchen counters over here, and then you've got like a little desk space. I feel like for a single sim, it's a really good and quite practical size. But you can see in the kitchen, I decided to use these base game counters, and then I also used a Snowy Escape fridge, and then I used a Dream Home Decorator. You know, like how we've got this separate like stovetop or hob and separate oven, and so on the little like counterpiece where your sims can set the bar stools, I decided to use the separate hob or separate stove piece, whatever you want to call it. I used to call it a hob quite often in some previous videos of mine, but a few people pointed out to me that it's not oftenly called that in other places in the world, so I sometimes say both. But you can see I also got to use the new bar stools as well in the kitchen. I did also use these on the exterior of the build, because you know where, I was about to say, you know where the fireplace is, but I just realised there actually ends up being 3 fireplaces in total on this house. But by one of the fireplaces, I use like the new bar object that we got, you know, like a bar where your sims can make a glass of wine after work or whatever, practice their mixology skill. By the new bar, I placed down them bar stools, but I forgot to point it out. Also, if you're curious of where all the fireplaces are, because I said that there's 3 and I've only shown you placing down 2, there is obviously one downstairs by the pool, one on kind of like the upper porch bit, and then there also ends up being one in the bedroom as well, because I don't know if you would have noticed, but when I was at the start of the build, I was kind of like building with the windows and just seeing how they would like be proportionally. I added in a chimney, and so because of that I felt like it was very necessary to then also have a fireplace on the inside, just for kind of like realism purposes. And so in the bedroom there also ends up being a fireplace. But you can see that I've already placed down some of the new curtains, which I have failed to mention up until this point. I was meant to mention them when I first placed them down in the dining room, but I kind of forgot. But you can see that I've now placed down some of the new curtains that we got within this kit. So I placed them down twice into this room. I sized them down and they sized down quite nicely, and I placed them just kind of like behind the kitchen counters, and I've also placed them down over here. Now I don't really know what's going on with these windows on the inside. I think it's probably my reshade, but I'm not sure because I can't really compare it to anything else. So let me know if this window thing situation that's going on is just my reshade, because I placed this build. Oh, by the way, I feel like this is a great time to mention, whole build has been play tested. It works absolutely fine. Do you know what? I didn't run into a single problem, which was really nice when I came to play testing this, because obviously it's built on loads of different blocks, and I was a little bit dubious, if that's the right word to use, about how it was going to work in terms of like your Sims getting around it. Absolutely fine, didn't run into a single problem, which is great. But I'm a little bit like, I'm a bit concerned about these windows. Are they the actual window itself? Like maybe it's just the mesh of them, or is it probably just my reshade? I feel like it's probably just my reshade, because the reshade that I have, which by the way, I get a lot of questions about this quite often. The one that I use is by Fantasia. I'm not sure of the name of it. It came out, I'm pretty sure, years at this point, because I've had it in my own personal game for literally years. I'm talking like 2, possibly even like 3 years or something. But the reshade that I have is by Fantasia, but I basically just adjusted it so there's a lot more shadows to it, because I like my games to look as realistic as possible and just less, I don't know, I like adding the shadows. It adds a little bit more sharpness to the build. So I'm not sure if them windows are kind of coming through into the curtains. I'm not sure if that's just the mesh of the window and then the reshade, like the shadow portion of my reshade is picking up on it or whatnot. I ain't got a clue. So let me know. And I did try and toggle it off as well. I tried toggling my reshade off and on to see if it made a difference, and it didn't make a difference. So yeah, I don't know if that's just the window or whatever, but either way, you can see that I've now moved on into the bathroom. So the bathroom ends up being an ensuite. I didn't feel like that was a big problem though, because it is only like a single sim or like a couple's house, because there is only the 1 bedroom. But to be honest, if you wanted to, I reckon you could probably make it into a 2-bedroom house. And the way that I would do it, if you maybe you did have a bachelor and maybe they then got into a relationship, stopped their bachelor life, and then they wanted to settle down, but they wanted to stay in this house, I would probably, if I was you, turn the dining room into another bedroom and replace the archway that goes into that room and just put like a normal door, because I feel like that would be quite a good master suite. Maybe you could switch out the rooms and then make now the bedroom what you're seeing me do now, because I've now moved on into the master bedroom. You could probably just make this into like a kid's room, or maybe like a couple of kids' rooms, and you could probably play around it that way, only because there is a few different like dining, seating areas already in the build, and so the dining table is not exactly necessary. But anyway, as you can see, and as I've just mentioned, I've now moved on into the master bedroom, or like the only bedroom. I say master bedroom, it's the only one. But I've now moved on into the bedroom of this build. So in here, I decided to go for the industrial loft kit bed, and then also the snowy escape fireplace. Also use the new armchair in the corner, and then also use the Seasons chest of drawers. And then I'm just going to go around, add some final furnishings, and that is pretty much it. So anyway, guys, I'm going to end this voiceover right here. As always, you can download this build via the gallery. My origin ID is JessicapieYT, or you can search for the hashtag JessicapieYT or just the hashtag Jessicapie. As always, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and as always, if you do like my content, then please do subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in my next Sims 4 speed building video. Bye guys!